Nigerians are divided on the current reforms by the government. The critics think there is nothing good about it. They point to the economic hardship in the land and the suffering of the majority of Nigerians, exasperated by the continuing insecurity, which is also threatening food security because people cannot go to their farms and cannot grow food. This has contributed to the increased food inflation, which has refused to come down, a key component of the core inflation figure. Joining us on the show to discuss the state of Nigeria's economy is Victor Ogiemwonyi, a retired investment banker. Good morning, sir, and you're most welcome to the morning show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Mr. Ogiemwonyi, good to have you on the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let's cut through the chase. I read your piece, Nigeria's economic reforms, and the responses so far. And I thought you were too lenient, too pro-government, too, how do I put it, in that particular piece. Because you ended by saying, Nigerians should be patient, that the Tinubu administration is doing so much for them. They have a cash transfer, they have a NEL fund, civil servants have a credit card, then SMEs, they are getting subsidy, and all of that, without providing empirical facts, which is a notorious phrase on this table, to back it up in terms of evidence that, in fact, this is actually not just phrases, but that they are phrases that are impactful. And then you ask the Nigerian people to be very patient, to make sacrifice. Yes. Is the government making the necessary sacrifice? And you're asking ordinary people to make a sacrifice. When we see government officials going about in latest editions of vehicles released just weeks ago in Europe. So, and then you said, sincerity of purpose. Are you also crediting government at all levels with the sincerity of purpose? Your article, very lucidly written, clear thinking, but the conclusions are wonky, in my view. You can't defend yourself.
Dr. Abacha, thank you very much for having me. First, let me point out that the current reforms are reforms that should have taken place several years ago. When you delay a decision, the consequences are going to be different. And that's one of the things that we're saying. If you remember that this same issue of fuel subsidy removal came up in 2014. But unfortunately, the government at that time did not have, I would say, the strength to take the right decision and damn the consequences and explain to the people what needs to be done. Deceiving the people that the naira was 400 naira, when you and I can take $1 and go and change it for 700. Doesn't make any sense. Those are the two major economic reforms that have taken place, and everything else is based on that. Now, let me also tell you that I have not praised government. I'm only saying that from the results that we are seeing, things are moving in the right direction. Inflation is trending down from 30% to 22%. Even in the US, it took Biden over 3 years to be able to bring inflation down. So it's not as easy as you are looking at it. Secondly, take the issue of foreign stability. We now have a stability of the naira rate. Meanwhile, don't forget that for over 15 years, we were propping up the naira with reserves that we should have put in our reserves to support the naira. The reason for having reserves is not to use it to make payments. Is to give confidence to those we are trading with, to say, they are strong enough. So if you have a $40 billion reserve, for instance, you can get $150 billion from all your trading partners who are looking at the kind of reserve you have. So if we have placed those monies into our reserve, we would have been in a much better place today. Look at all the countries in the world that have strong currencies. They have huge reserves. Even Singapore won't disclose it to you, but everybody knows that they have a huge reserve. So many other countries you look at, that is the basis of supporting a currency. And then, of course, you have to look at productivity. We have absolutely no good productivity in Nigeria. We all know it. Now, let me point out that everybody will say, I always have this argument with my friends, you are always supporting IMF, you are supporting government. No, I support sensible economics. What we are seeing is, finally, somebody has said, look, let's stop this, cut this nonsense and face the reality. Nigerians are going to suffer for a little while more. But I can tell you that my estimation, in about 2 years, we are going to start seeing things turning for the better. We are already seeing signs in a balance of payments. We are seeing signs in government revenues going up. These are all things that should have been done in the past. You can't use 2 years to make decisions like that. There are areas that the complaints are very genuine. For instance, there's a wasteful government. You and I see it every day. That is something that they can do something about today. There is no doubt that corruption has not even started, to be fought. Because the people fighting corruption are not really looking at corruption. They are doing other things, activities, but not fighting corruption. That's why I have said, for instance, that EFCC should look backwards and look forwards. First, they should draw a line. From now on, this will not happen again. There are thousands of things to do today. Money, you can follow money to anywhere today. You can't, it's not the days you bring Ghana must go back. You don't steal billions in Ghana must go back. It goes through a system. So there must be actual pointing to where are the problems, where do we go and tackle them. Then for the past, just bring Abati in and say, look, this is what we have against you. It will be controvertible, evidence. And then you will be able to force you to come and, if you don't want to go to jail, come and settle. Bring our loot back. But instead of wasting time, I have a personal case that I can tell you that 9 years, EFCC has been holding, they have to answer only 2 questions. Somebody said you stole his dividends. Somebody said you sold shares and you said it was below. Yeah. Yet, you can't do it in 9 years. They've made 3 amendments. 9 years. How many cases are you going to do that? So, all said and done, government has a role to play. That's why I said all ends up in sincerity of purpose. Yes. If government doesn't have sincerity of purpose, any leadership that doesn't have sincerity of purpose is wasting time. Because every other thing doesn't make any sense.
That's how you conclude your article.
Yes.
In talking about the sincerity of purpose. I'm going to ask you a few questions, or 2 questions actually. The first one would be around some of the interventions as safety nets that this government has done. You praised some of the efforts. You looked at NEL Fund, you looked at some of the things that they've done, but according to the WTO DG, even that is not enough. I don't know if you agree with her or not. And if that is the case, what are some of the areas? Because whether you like it or not, I know you're telling Nigerians to be patient. I think they'll tell you that they've been patient long enough. Yes. And their patience is running. In fact, there's hardly anything left of the patience. So 2 years is a bit too long to ask people to wait to begin to see impact. Mm-hmm. In the immediate, what are some of the things that this administration can do from its savings to cushion the effect for a number of people?
You are very correct. The truth is that even though they've done some, they are not doing enough. You see, the devaluation of the Naira for 50% is a lot. But believe it or not, go and check the Japanese yen. Between 2019 and today, it has also dropped 50%. I was trading at 97 in 2019. The Japanese yen is trading at 145 today. But to the Japanese, it's meaningless because they have one of the most efficient economies in the world. They are very productive. And the lower rate for their currency allows them to export because they are an exporting company. We don't do any of those. So those are some of the things. However, in terms of, I believe that the poor needs to be really, really impacted with this thing. They should hasten the cash disbursement they are doing, cash transfers. They should do it properly because there are also issues around that. Yes. About whether they are actually doing it or they are giving it to their brothers and sisters, we don't know. Yes. So these are the issues. If a government is sincere and they want to really, they are making a good effort. What they are doing economically is the right thing to do. But they have to show us that they are serious. Let me give you 2 things that they can do today that can help everybody. Look at the issue of electricity. they've been able to sign into law one of the best ways to quickly get electricity to everybody by decentralizing it. But they should now go to the acceleration angle. Tell every state, everybody who is going to put up a distribution line or put up the grid. In fact, scatter the national grid. It doesn't make sense. It's the same centralization we have about Nigeria. You want to do this, you must go to Abuja. That's nonsense. The national grid, they should leave them to the regions they are in, put them into this. Let states build in one. Tell each state, for every grid you are going to build, if you are paying 200 billion, federal government will give you 100 billion. Not dash you, because there are private people that they can put together to do that. We create instruments, like instruments that will make sure that government gets its money back. Instruments like discountable or convertible securities. Say, we are giving it to you. If you can't pay, we will change it into equity in the company so that we can take the company back. We can't do what has happened with Discos, just keep giving them loans that they don't pay and we don't see any improvement. Something has to give in terms of what I told you. Sorry. The second one is, look at agriculture. Today we are having problems with farming and all that. However, even what we produce today is wasted mostly. Yeah. Now, why can't government say, Bank of Industry, for the next 2 years, we are creating a fund. Anybody who wants to have a processing plant, that one you don't have to go to the farm. Because there's so much of agriculture that if it's processed here, we will need to go out. Yeah. And that is a low-hanging fruit. He will employ people, he will create jobs, it will actually allow us to be able to export to the African Trade Agreement that will enable us in foreign exchange. Okay. These are things that can be done today.
Okay. You know, while I was on the air, I was really rereading your article to be able to get a fair assessment. You see, the problem I have with your article is that, let me put it this way, there are many things that are so easy to challenge, and you didn't put empirical facts there, like Dr. Bati said rightly. So it leaves a loophole. You are saying the Naira is stable, but you also forget, and maybe you didn't add to the article, that this year alone, first half of the year, we spent $4.7 billion defending that same Naira. It wasn't added in your article. And despite the fact that we first $4.7 billion defending that Naira is still undervalued. It's not the true value we have in 1,500. The value, a lot of economists have argued, should be about 1,100 thereabouts. That's not in the article. The next thing you said, okay, let's fight corruption and everything. Let's deal with post-harvest losses. But the same government that have concessioned out most of its silos, and most of the money you are saying that they should give to the poor in social investment program, they've started the disposal of social investment program, but it's not far-reaching enough. So when you also go to the angle of, the reserves, for instance, a part in your article did also talk about the fact that at a point in this country, if you remember, this time you say we're frittering away the money. From 2006 to about 2010, you can fact check me on this. Our reserves were good enough to be able to pay off even all of our national debts. But what happened to those reserves? It was squandered, and we've borrowed more money. So you are saying we should have a reserve as an hedge to borrow more money. Is it because the CBN did not also make it public when the net reserve dropped to about 5.9 billion when they were clearing out derivatives in about May of this month? So it's because we have some inflows that we've pushed on 41 billion at this point in time. Does not mean everything is Uhuru yet. September, we're going to have another payment of close to $600 million. Another quarter before the end of the year, we're going to have another payment of $1.5 billion. So there are many empirical facts that I see missing in this. You were saying, the Jonathan government did not have the willpower to pull out subsidy when they did. You forget that the same government that you're defending, I say we should be patient with, was the one that went on the street and told Nigeria that if you pull out the subsidy, Nigeria will crash. And they shut down this country for 2 weeks. Okay. There are a lot of open-ended arguments that you don't put empirical facts to.
Okay. That's what I have. Let me take this one by one, as much as because there's a lot that you unpacked. First of all, the empirical evidence you are talking about is very clear. The macroeconomic ones that you can see. Inflation is trending down, you can't dispute that.
After we changed the weighted average.
Wait.
Do you know we changed the weighted average inflation?
That has nothing to do with...
No, but you know we did.
We did.
We reduced... No, can you confirm to me, sir?
We did.
That we reduced the portion food takes in inflation and we reduced the weighted average of food in inflation numbers.
Now, look.
That's what we
I don't. First of all, my arguments are going to be restricted to economics, so I'm not talking about the politics. However, like I said, empirical evidence that we can see that the economy is recognized, inflation is going down, balance of payments is positive. We are having, I don't know whether we can claim that we're having low unemployment. However, there's something significant about...
You know, we change our weighted average.
Wait. There's something significant about what they did. We are a country where you and I know that the biggest economy is not the official business. It's the informal sector. For the first time, are you telling me, really, in your heart, that how many Nigerians, 33% of Nigerians don't work at all? They don't have any employment. That's really, it's not really realistic. The truth is that a majority of those people may be underemployed, but they are employed in the informal sector. This is the first time we are beginning to recognize that. So it is likely, I'm not saying that where they are saying is inflation, but it's definitely not 33% that we quote all the time. Again, you are talking about cash transfers. I've said that. I have no doubt. My argument is that the cash transfers will be spent here anyway. So it's not. So you should do it as long as it's done transparently. And that is the reason why I said everything I've said though is hedged on a government that wants to do things in a way that we can see and judge by having a very easy way to measure, which is, do they have sincerity of purpose? And that can be measured by everybody. Finally, you talked about the 4.7 billion that have been used. Let me tell you, for instance, if you see...
And the currency is still undervalued.
No, the currency of undervaluation is not scientific. I just told you about the Japanese yen dropping in last 5 years, 50%. But the reason why they don't feel it is that they are an exporting country. That's it.
No, it's deliberate.
It's deliberate. In our own case, in our own case, you have to first of all correct something that is wrong before you can do anything on it. Just one point. Is it okay? Please. Now, the 4.7 we are talking about, this is what happened. Funny enough, in late 2020, in middle of 2024, I had speculated that when the Naira first crossed 1,000, everybody was panicking. I said, this is not it. My speculation will be around 1,500. The reason I was doing that was that if you see the South Korean won, their currency, is trading at 1350, and they are one of the most productive economies in the world. They are exporting. If they can be trading at 1,300 to the dollar, why do you think Nigeria that is unproductive should be any better than that? So we have a long way to go. There is no scientific way to determine where currency is, whether it's efficient or not. All those are speculations. Let us see is stabilized as the first thing so that people can make decisions for the long term. That's exactly how I want to answer that.
Okay, Mr. Ogiemwonyi,
yes.
You said you just talk economics.
Yes.
But there was a line I caught in part of your earlier contribution where you were talking about an issue you know about that has been going on for 9 years, involving the EFCC and all of that. Now, for the benefit of people who know you very well, I mean, you are quite a known figure.
Thank you.
You know, in the economic space, particularly in the capital market.
Yes.
So are you referring to a personal experience, to an issue that you are having to resolve with the authorities? And let not somebody watching this interview think, oh, they have brought Mr. Ogiemwonyi to give him an opportunity to whitewash the Tinubu administration so that he can make peace with them. You need to give us that clarification.
Now, all I can tell you that when cases are in court, that's why I didn't give any. I said, I just mentioned what I know. I did not attach it to any specific case of mine or anybody. There are so many. We have cases that have been going on for over 10 years. They are all in this system. What we are saying is that we should find a way to get these things done properly. And getting them done properly, if I were to give details of what you are asking me, it will be inappropriate because, you know, of the court issue. But the reality is that there is injustice going on that is ridiculous, that anybody who is concerned should be able to see through, cut through the chase. Let authorities, if they want, they can call me. I will come. Let me tell them exactly what I mean. I will be able to explain to them. So that's for that. I am not doing any laundering for any government. It's a pity that I mentioned the Jonathan. If you see my article, I said past administrations. I did not say specifically Jonathan. I just used that as a way to clarify. I'm not interested too much in politics. It is the economics I'm talking about. And what I can see, I am beginning to see that the government policies that were put in place are heading in the right direction. No matter what criticism you have, that's my own opinion.
All right. Thank you so much for
Thank you so much.
Yes, for expressing your own opinion on the channel, just breaking down a few things as well. Thank you.